Most of all, I would like to really stress that this process is not linear. It's going to look messy sometimes. It's not just going to be a perfect, aesthetic, picture perfect journey that, is always going to be super neat. That's completely normal and natural for it to look messy, and it's important for you to be able to hold space for the messiness and to use this as a practice to practice self-compassion and forgiveness. The next right step after relapse is loving yourself through it and forgiving yourself, You don't have to love the action itself. You don't have to, approve of the action, or, some people might think that, oh, if I forgive myself for it, then that means that I'm, enabling that behavior, and who's to say I won't do it again. But that's not really true. Forgiving yourself is about loving the version of you that used that action to cope. And when you're able to have empathy for the version of you that, turned back to nicotine, you're able to look at it more clearly. Understand, why did he or she do that? How can I support and love he or she, they, anyone in between, so they don't do it again? And how can I cope with this better next time and find the tools I need to make this a good experience? And again, it's not to say that it's either going to be relapse or you're going to be having a great time no matter what. Like, there's definitely, again, it's not linear. It's going to look messy. There's going to be hard days. There's going to be some challenges, but it really is about how much you can just show up for yourself and hold space for whatever you need to give to yourself in that moment. It does not have to be miserable, but there is some level of discomfort in the beginning. Your brain is literally reshaping itself, creating new neural pathways. There's going to be some discomfort, You've had a network of neural pathways, habit loops, for years and years. There's going to be some discomfort with any kind of change. And sometimes the most radically compassionate, empathetic, and also most effective version of just being with yourself through the messiness of your healing journey, your quitting story, is, be sitting with yourself in that discomfort and saying to yourself, you know what, this is a shit day, to be honest. Like, this feels horrible. And I can still validate that and hold space for that while also knowing that this is leading me to where I want to go. But sometimes you do have to acknowledge those tough moments and know that you're not a failure just because you're having a tough moment. That's part of it. It's part of just showing up for yourself, is being where you are, but still cultivating the hope. One of my favorite podcasters, Victoria Duvall, she's a women's healing coach. She always talks about maintaining the undercurrent of hope and joy. And, you can have all of the chaos happening and hold space for that and validate that, but also know that there's always the undercurrent of whatever is grounding you to this experience, and knowing that that's there and sort of reconnecting yourself back to it. And, it's okay to sort of doom spiral on the surface, but, let's maintain that undercurrent of joy. Speaking of spiral, I saw this really great TikTok, and it's about how progress isn't linear. And this girl, I don't know her user but she talks about how progress really is, you think that you're sort of regressing whenever you stop making progress in a certain area, but really, she looks at progress sort of like a spring. So as you're moving through the spring and along the path of the spring, it seems like you're going back in the loop, but really you're traveling upwards and forwards, even though it seems like you're repeating the cycle, but really you're getting stronger and stronger every single time. And I think that is the most perfect description of what this process is. Relapse is not an ending to your journey. It's seriously, and I'm not just saying that to make you feel better, like really and truly, I don't even know how many times I relapsed, but that was never a defining obstacle for me where I was like, okay, well, I guess it's just not in the cards for me. Like, no, it's okay. I knew that was a possibility, and that, sometimes you need to have that happen so you can make certain changes and use it to really grow. And that's okay. It can be a stepping stone for progress. It's just a part of the journey. It's going to be okay. It really is, I promise. It's okay if you take some time off from jumping right back into quitting to reflect before your next attempt. All of those things are okay. When you're in your period of reflection, just take a look at your experience and also use this time to take advantage of it, use it to come to nicotine addiction presently. Watch the pattern play out. And when you remember to do this, every time you take a hit, like, notice it, be present with it. What does this feel like in my body? What emotions arise when I do this? Am I truly feeling better? Is this, genuine relief? What am I feeling right now? What is this helping me run from or cope with? One of the most powerful relapse experiences, and that sounds so weird to even say because the culture around addiction is so shame heavy, and which is just so disturbing and disgusting to me because it truly prevents so many people from accessing the help and the quality of care that they need. But I just think the discourse around relapse is so shame-centered, which is, no pun intended, a shame. It really is, because I feel like a lot of times, it could be a really key learning experience. What do we always say about failure? Failure is not failure if you can learn from it, Sometimes you have to fail to grow. Really quickly, I want to talk about one of my most defining and really powerful learning experiences through relapse. I had made it to, it's been a while now, so I'm hoping not to misrepresent this story. I always get worried about that because I never want to misrepresent my past experience, but it has been a while now, so some of the details are kind of foggy with timelines and stuff. But anyways, so I made it to day 3 and I remember being so proud of myself and was really happy about it. But then the day started going on and something happened. I don't remember exactly what it was, but just some life circumstance was going on, and I remember being just very upset and anxious about that. And of course I wanted to use quitting and nicotine as a scapegoat, and all of my problems, I wouldn't be feeling quite as bad if I had a puff bar in my hand. And so of course I let that thought grow and grow, and eventually, even after being so proud, I think it was the first time I made it 3 whole days, I decided to self-sabotage. And I remember unwrapping it and being so happy and, excited, and just thinking that it would deliver me the promise of relief from the stress of my life or whatever was going on at the time. And I took a hit, and I remember being like, are you kidding me? So now, not only do I have to go over this 3-day hump again, this is so stupid. Now I'm even more anxious than I was before. This is such an empty promise that this stupid flash drive stick makes to us. It's so insidious. It seems like it's just this harmless little thing, but really it's this insidious thing that chips away at your self-confidence, your health, your energy, your life. It made me so mad. And I'm gonna go to my notes page because I wrote something down in my notes after this experience. So this is what I wrote right after. There is no relief from it. Seriously, none. I was 3 hours away from the 3-day mark, and then I bought a disposable. I was literally gagging. I wasn't comforted by it at all. There was nothing gained. I wish I hadn't, because I gained so much energy from stopping, but this does not undermine the progress that I have made. I am more than capable. Aw, that's kind of sweet. I don't remember the gagging part, but yeah. It was definitely an important learning experience that confirmed to me what I already knew to be true, and I used it to really cement my decision to quit. And it wasn't, a stopping and restarting of my journey. It was just a continuation of my journey. I didn't lose any of the, okay. Yes, on a physical being, health-wise, yes, you do lose some progress, but mentally and long-term, you're not losing progress. Your body repairs itself at an extremely rapid rate. And that's not, the main concern is your mental, because again, this is a mental addiction. And mentally, I didn't lose any of the progress that I had already made. I used it as a tool to become stronger and more confident in my decision, more sure of what I wanted, and more capable of overcoming those life stressors the next time, because I wasn't going to use the crutch that isn't really a crutch to go deal with those things. And I knew that it wouldn't make my life easier. In fact, it would make my life worse. So yeah, I hope you guys can take some advice maybe from that story and, you know, apply it if you've just relapsed. And I know how bad it sucks. I feel for you, and I know that it can be extremely discouraging, but I really want to encourage you not to let it throw you off and make you think that you can't do this, because you really can. And relapse, unfortunately, is normal, and it can be a learning lesson. Sometimes you have to fail to succeed. And it's okay if you're beating yourself up right now. You know, you can also use that. I don't recommend self-flagellation as a long-term, you know, method of motivation and being mean to yourself to, you know, get things done. Maybe short term you can sort of harness that self-anger, but I really hope that you can, you know, work through this and use this to use it as a practice for self-compassion, because quitting nicotine is not just about quitting nicotine. You can bring this knowledge to all areas of your life. This is teaching you how to show up for yourself, achieve a goal, move from point A to B, and do something that maybe you don't think that you can do right now. And I promise this is something that's going to spill over into so many areas of your life. And if you can learn to do this and learn to harness it, everything in this experience can be shifted and used as a tool, because that's all a part of the learning process. I know it sounds stupid and cheesy, but like, it really is a part of the journey and the experience, and it's a part of the fun. Honestly, this is a learning experience. What's important is that you're showing up and you're not giving up. See, even you showing up here after you have encountered what some might call a failure, I would prefer the term obstacle, that's resilience. Do you realize how hard that quality is to cultivate and come across? It's really hard. It's really hard to look at yourself in the face of defeat and love yourself through that and be like, okay, yes, I messed up. Yes, I'm not perfect. Unfortunately, I am human. I'm human. Hello. I'm gonna fuck up sometimes. I'm going to have trial and error before I figure things out. It's not always supposed to be perfect. But failure isn't really failure. You're just speeding up the timeline until you reach success. Failure is a part of the process. The more times you fall on your face and can get back up, that's just the faster that you're going to reach your goal. And the practice, the art, and the skill, the learned skill of actually being able to move through that, to capitalize on that failure, on that mistake, and learn and grow from it and show up anyways, doing it scared, is something that you're going to have for the rest of your life. Because when you succeed, not if, when you succeed, nobody can take that away from you. No one will ever be able to take that skill, that experience away from you, and you can replicate this and move it into other areas of your life. Quitting is not just about quitting. You are learning the process of literally rewiring your own brain. Do you realize that? Do you realize what a powerful and important skill that is to have if you want to do or accomplish anything in your life? This is the training ground for that. You have honestly been given one of the best gifts you'll ever receive. This is a safe space for you to practice and learn that. Can you even put a price tag on that skill? If that skill was just available in the market for someone to purchase, what do you think what sort of value monetarily do you think that could provide for them? What sort of things could that help them attain in the future? In my opinion, that's priceless. it can help you achieve anything. That's a skill that's extremely valuable. That's priceless. That's a skill that everyone wants. People hope to get. And guess what? It's yours. It's yours for the taking. It's yours to cultivate. It's been given to you. You've been gifted this battle, this obstacle to overcome in your life. And in return, you get so many things, endless gifts, your health, your more energy, just on a physical level from quitting nicotine and all of the wonderful mental and physical benefits that brings, but also you get a priceless skill set. I don't like the term quitting because it sounds like you're giving something up, or it implies sort of a loss. If anyone can think of a more empowering, inspiring term besides quitting, let me know, because for some reason it's never really sat right with me. That's so random. But anyways, okay, moving on to how you're going to use this and harness this as a tool. Let's talk about intentional reflection. If you don't already own a journal, please, I beg of you to get one, or, just make a notes page in your phone and start writing down everything you can remember about your experience, what worked, what didn't work, what led you to relapse, obviously, what kinds of emotions were you feeling, what sort of environmental triggers could there have been, document sort of your thoughts beforehand and sort of what led up to that. And remember, you're a scientist. This is an unbiased perspective. You don't have to beat yourself up in this. And I promise you, you did not relapse because of a lack of willpower or a lack of determination. More than likely, there are just some things, whether that be your mindset, your environment, your support system, the tools that you have around you to cultivate a supportive environment, just need some tweaking. So 9.9999 times out of 10, it's probably not about your character or a lack of strength. There might be some sort of, that could be a factor in developing that commitment and the strength of commitment. That's also a factor, but really and truly, look at other things first, because it's really a cop-out to just say, oh, well, I just wasn't, strong enough to do this, or I'm just too addicted, I'm never gonna quit. When you say that, honestly, one, probably not true, and two, that's safe. That's so easy to just say that. That means you need to go to step one and work on your forgiveness and self-compassion, and then come back here, because, babe, that's probably not true, to be honest. Cut the shit, let's look at this. There's nothing wrong with you. You're capable of this. We just gotta do some moving of things around, some tweaks here and there, and you're capable. If I can do it, you can do it. There's so many people that have been exactly where you are. I just feel like so many people psych themselves out and hold themselves back. Okay, so after you have, you can, and you don't have to necessarily journal, but really take some time to do some reflection. And I do encourage writing it down, because it just helps you process things and fully articulate the thoughts to yourself. And it can help you with formulating a timeline and recognizing certain patterns and stuff. But yeah, just and you don't have to necessarily journal, but really take some time to do some reflection. And I do encourage writing it down, because it just helps you process things and fully articulate the thoughts to yourself. And it can help you with formulating a timeline and recognizing certain patterns and stuff. But yeah, just take some time to really reflect and sit in that, and take a few days to do this. You don't need to rush this process by any means. It's going to take time. And even if you think you already know what caused your relapse, be open. There might be something else that you haven't really thought of. So just, give it some time to marinate. Ew. Okay, I don't know why I said that. Anyways. And also during this relapse period, take advantage of this time and, kind of like I was saying earlier, start writing down some specific triggers or environments where you find yourself vaping or smoking more. Pretend you're a little scientist and just start collecting some data points, putting the puzzle pieces together, and jotting down some ideas that could support you. And it's really not enough just to reflect on this and be like, oh, okay, like I think that X, Y, and Z happened and that's what caused my failure. It's just not enough to just do that. You really need to implement systems that will support your goals. So what I mean by this is creating a mental and physical, as much as possible, surrounding that is supportive of your goal. And the main logic behind this is the easier you make it for yourself, the more likely it is that you're going to succeed. The less effort that it will take for you to do this, the more supported you are in this goal, the easier it will be for you to follow through. And why wouldn't you want to make it easier on yourself? And so it's really good to sort of reverse engineer things and plot step by step how you're going to achieve your goal and run through obstacles in your head before you actually encounter them to make it easier on yourself. Give yourself a game plan, a toolbox that you can pull out whenever you need it. And especially tailor that to different specific obstacles that you might encounter. For example, for me, every time I relapsed, it was mostly because I went out drinking with my friends without being on my guard. One of the main causes statistically for relapse is binge drinking. So knowing this, I decided, hey, I'm going to wait a little bit until I go out drinking with friends. So I waited a couple of weeks, and you don't necessarily need to cut out drinking or anything long term, but just wait until you're a little bit less vulnerable, make it easier on yourself. Or if you want to go out with friends, have 2 drinks, cut it, max out at 2, stay on your guard, and just have that in mind. Before you go out, set the intention, I'm going to have more fun than I have in so long, because I'm not going to be thinking about who can I be fiending off of, or when can I sneak off to the bathroom to get my next hit. I'm going to be thinking about how much fun I can have dancing. I'm going to connect with my friends, be super present, have the best time ever, because I now have the ability to be so in the moment. And you know what? If I start getting a craving, I know that I am capable of moving through that craving. And if I do get a craving and it gets really bad, I'm going to take a second to myself and remind myself of all of my reasons why I did this in the first place. I'm going to remind myself that this craving will pass. And you know what? I'm going to go back to the dance floor, or I'm going to go get a water, or I'm going to go talk to a friend or text a friend, or, call my mom and tell her that I'm having a really bad craving and I don't know what to do. But you do know what to do, and you are capable, and you can have those hard moments. The hard moment doesn't mean it doesn't necessitate failure. Don't freak out, just roll with the punches, go with the flow. It's going to be okay. It really will pass if you let it pass. But it's going to be a lot easier for you to feel confident about that if you have some things that you know to do and to turn to. There's a million different things you can do. Make a list in your phone, plan A, B, C, D, E, or just give yourself some options, In my video, 3 things to do before you quit vaping, I have a list of resources and tools, just apps on your phone, or a book you can pull quotes from. If you guys want to go check that out, I'll leave the link below. Those are all really great spaces for you to turn to if you need them and want to add them to your toolbox. And, as you move through this, you won't need to necessarily, freak out and go to your notes page and what do I do? It will be natural, and you'll be able to check in with yourself and give yourself what you need in that moment. And also, cravings will fade out, and they will become more and more manageable as time goes on, and they will fade out altogether, and there will come a day where you will never think about this again. The only time you will think about this is when you are like, oh my God, remember when I used to do that? Remember when I used to stress about my chest pain and pray that I didn't have popcorn lung? I'm joking, but I'm not. You're going to look back and thank your past self, the version of you right now. You are going to be praying to her much for doing this for me. You've set up a wonderful life for myself. I've learned so much from this journey, and it's because of you. And you're doing the thing. You're showing up, you're doing the work, and that's what you're going to think about, is just how happy and relieved you are that you do not have to deal with this problem. You don't have to spend money on this horrible thing that is damaging your health. It's going to be a relief. And it's not going to be something that you look back on and, remember the glory days of, when my skin was worse and my health was worse. Like, no. And I say that not to shame you where you are right now by any means, but just, state the facts that you have a lot to look forward to and you're not giving anything up. Isn't that such good news? This is so exciting. Even now, the shitty part, it's still so exciting because it's a part of your journey, your story, your healing experience with quitting. Even this hard moment is you giving yourself the life that you deserve. I know that sounds cheesy. I don't care. It's true. You deserve this. You're capable of this. And I love you so much. And I'm so proud of you no matter where you are in your story. I'm so proud of you. I respect the hell out of you for being here. And I love you so much. Okay, thank you so much for listening to this first podcast episode. I hope to see you here very shortly. Maybe I'll do an episode about how to create and implement the systems and sort of go more in depth on that. Let me know what you guys want to see. And yeah, thank you again so much for receiving me, being open, letting me into your space, giving your time to hear me. That's like the biggest honor, the most crazy, like my brain can't even comprehend that. Genuinely, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you so much. Okay, bye.